Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that the NLRB's structure is unconstitutional. So in the states of Mississippi, Texas, and Louisiana, the board is essentially hobbled and the NLRA repealed.
Are you on? Which side are you on?
844-899-TVLR is the phone number. We'd love to hear from you. 844-899-8857. We're going to jump right into last week in Southern labor. Here's what workers in the U.S. South and the American colonies were up to from August 15th to the 22nd. In new union campaign, 65 workers at Stockton Maintenance Group in Vienna, Virginia, filed a petition to hold a union election with the Service Employees International Union, SEIU 32BJ. 15 workers at Frito-Lay in Prestonburg, Kentucky, filed a petition to hold a union election with the Teamsters Local 175. 9 workers at Science Applications International Corporation in Dallas, Texas, filed a petition to hold a union election with the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, and 3 workers at NMAI in Jacksonville, Florida, filed a petition to hold a union election with the Independent Association of Public and Private Employees. In election results, Protective Services Officers United withdrew their attempt to raid a unit of 18 security guards at Allied Universal Services in Alexandria, Virginia, who are currently represented by the Security Police and Fire Professionals of America, SPFPA. 7 workers at Ethel Corporation in Pasadena, Texas, withdrew their petition to decertify the United Steelworkers, USW Local 227, as their union, so the union remains. 15 workers at New Bern Transport Corporation in Rock Hill, South Carolina, withdrew their petition for a union election with the Teamsters Local 71. 13 security guards at Triple Canopy in Herndon, Virginia, voted 2-0 in favor of unionization with Protective Service Officers United. 14 workers at MV Transportation in El Paso, Texas, voted in favor of unionization with the Teamsters Local 745. 20 workers at Starbucks in Beaumont, Texas, voted 14-3 in favor of unionization with Starbucks Workers United. And 90 workers at Alstom in Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport in Georgia voted in favor of unionization with the Transportation Communications Union, TCU. IAM. Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate. In grievances, unfair labor practices, and court cases, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that the NLRB's structure is unconstitutional. So in the states of Mississippi, Texas, and Louisiana, the board is essentially hobbled and the NLRA is repealed. The Supreme Court will probably agree that the structure is unconstitutional, specifically protections for administrative law judges and board members against firings by the president, and remove those things, but keep the rest of the NLRB in place. That's what they've done with other bodies. So ultimately, the change won't be that large, at least according to Matt Brunig. But in the interim, workers in large swaths of the country are going to be left out to dry. The United Mine Workers of America, UMWA, condemned the U.S. Court of Appeals' decision to push back the implementation of the Mine Safety and Health Administration's long overdue silica rule until October. The delay stems from a lawsuit filed by the National Stone, Sand, and Gravel Association, an industry not even affected by the rule until 2027, while coal miners remain exposed to deadly silica dust. This delay is simply a death sentence for more miners, said UMWA International President Cecil Roberts. In strikes and bargaining updates, hundreds of GE Aerospace workers, represented by UAW Local 647 in Kentucky, rallied last week ahead of a contract expiration set for August 27th at midnight. After bargaining for weeks with the company, workers are frustrated with the lack of serious proposals put forth by GE that address core issues such as job security, healthcare costs, and time off. According to the union, workers voted to authorize a strike by 84%. AFA-CWA flight attendants working for PSA Airlines held a day of action last week with pickets at 5 airports, including the Charlotte Douglas International Airport, the Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport, and Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. The flight attendants are calling on PSA Airlines, a regional operator of American Airlines, to negotiate a living wage for regional flight attendants who are paid approximately 45% less for the same work as other flight attendants. More than 300 warehouse workers at United Natural Foods, Inc., UNFI, represented by the Teamsters Local 79, have overwhelmingly ratified a new 5-year collective bargaining agreement. Their first contract delivers up to an $8 an hour wage increase, Teamsters health care coverage, and participation in the Teamsters Western Conference Pension Plan. The United Mine Workers of America announced that it has reached a tentative collective bargaining agreement with the American Consolidated Natural Resources Incorporated, covering members of UMWA Locals 1110, 1473, 1501, 1638, and 9909. A contract explanation meeting will be held on Friday, August 22nd for all affected members. Following the meeting, members will have 48 hours to cast their votes on whether or not to ratify the new contract. In political and legislative updates, the Economic Policy Institute released a new report on the impacts of unionization, finding that, among other things, from 1979 to 2024, median wages rose more in states where unionization declined less. The productivity pay gap has grown more slowly in states with smaller declines in unionization since 1979. In states with higher union densities, the share of people without any form of health insurance is 5.7%. This rate was 9% in states with lower union densities. And 70.6% of states with the highest union density have enacted paid sick leave legislation, compared with just 11.8% of low union density states. The Trump administration continues to rip up union contracts and, quote, de-recognize federal employee unions, last week adding Health and Human Services to the list of agencies they've done this to. The American Federation of Government Employees, AFGE, condemned the move and emphasized that strong union contracts are not an obstacle to emergency response. They are what ensures the CDC and NIOSH remain a stable, experienced, and supported workforce. AFGE Local 3840 Vice President Micah Namir Walsh said, "Don't believe HHS, we are still a union. They're attacking us because they know we are one of the last lines of defense against their effort to dismantle America's public health system. Whether or not HHS recognizes us on paper, we will continue standing together side by side as co-workers to defend our rights and protect the nation's health." In internal union affairs, actually, we don't have any updates on that this week. Sorry about that. If we missed anything, let us know at tvlr.fm/contact, and we will include your union update in next week's Roundup. You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m., and we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.